What is up, guys? Winner Kills here, and of course, welcome back to another post-commentary duel video. We got a bit of a rematch on our hands here. I guess I would call it a reverse rematch. The first Sekka Mermails vs. True Draco I uploaded was actually the second match in a row that I played against my friend Adam here on the left. And this is the first matchup that you guys have not seen yet. So I played that second match because I wanted to dispute something. I wanted to, try to prove something, I guess you would say. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get things started here, starting with the swap frog engine, of course, being one of the best engines that I think you could possibly play in this deck. Summon the swap by discarding the Megalo, and then I'm gonna go ahead and send a Ronin from deck, and then I set up this cool play by discarding the gun in my hand with the swap to bring back Megalo, because gun does trigger off of swap because it does discard the card, so that works out really, really well for me in the end. And then I'm going to go ahead and use Ronin, banish swap to go into a copy of Totally Awesome to get things going here. It's kind of a weak first turn board, but the swap frog engine allowing me to do a whole heck of a lot more than I would have been able to do without it, of course. And then I go standby phase, summon the swap from the main deck, and am able to play. But of course, he has Rocky Boy. They could argue, hey, you should have, if you would have had the Undyne engine and gone for this whole play, you could have possibly ended with a better field. Well, that's only true if you have the excess cards in hand to back it up. Worst comes to worst, the Swap Frog engine will almost always be better than every other engine you can play, pretty much in any way possible, because of its versatility and the fact that it pretty much almost never bricks, even if you open multiple copies of Swap or Swap and Ronin. The only way it really bricks if you open up the one of Ronin, which of course could always be used as discard fodder or set in defense with that 2000 ass. Anyways, we're going to see terraforming for diagram, popping what looks to be the Apocalypse duality into another copy of terraforming. That'll get played immediately, of course, not wasting any time when it comes to grabbing that second diagram. And of course, Rocky Boy making my first turn field pretty much useless, turning my Totally Awesome into a Totally Token, making sure it can't, interrupt his plays in any way, shape, or form. I need to get a really lucky Moulin play to be able to hit that Rocky Boy out of his hand. But even then, it's not enough in some cases because the draw power is so great with this deck. The fact that he could possibly, just draw into a Rocky Boy had I knocked one out of his hand. The possibility of that happening, of course, is always there. He's going to feel the need to, though, pop the Rocky Boy with the diagram to grab a copy of Disciples. Disciples now getting activated to draw into one copy of what looks to be the Monarch's Erupt. Going to use Disciples effect to get that tribute summon of Ignis Heat. Of course, at 2700, now having the ability to beat over anything on my board. And instead opts to, instead of going for Megalo, to go over the swap, which is, of course, proving a bit more of a threat. Because if he did not clear that, I would have been able to make another Totally Awesome next turn. However, or perhaps Mistar Boy to perhaps drop Ignis Heat's attack by 500 or 400 attack and defense because of Mistar Boy's effect. But at this point, I just find it best to summon Ronin. He will get the search off of Ignis, of course. Then we go into Mistar Boy here. So dropping Ignis Heat, who was at 27, down to 23. Of course, now making it able for me to be able to beat over a copy of that with a copy of Megalo any day of the week. I summon Moulin Glacia. If I decide to go ahead and get that big monster on the board for free, it's a bit of a risk, but I figure at this point it's worth it to bait anything out before I go, I think, for the Fragile Teus play that I might have in hand, waiting in the wakes. But that does get the Erupt activated, and then he has Solemn Judgment for my Neptibus. He'll pay half his life points gladly to remove that threat, and yeah, that's really, really unlucky. Just when I thought I could probably play around that with the Prince, sending for cost under Eruption, much like Skill Drain, he has the Solemn Judgment to say no. Anyways, continuing on here, going to go ahead and go into battle phase. Of course, Moulin being able to run over once for some damage, and then Diagram protecting it from the once destruction by battle. Very pesky card effect to have to deal with. Now we're going to see Diagram pop his set Apocalypse. I believe that's going to hit Moulin Glacier, no problem, adding a copy of Majesty Maiden to his hand. And now we're going to see another copy of Disciples. I believe he searched Disciples. Yeah, that seems about right. And then recycle 3 back in the deck because, you know, having a built-in Daigusto Emerald in the main deck is pretty cool, especially when it's at 3 in your deck. And then a Pot of Duality to sort of round things off. Not taking Maiden or fun-ending Nightmare, I should say. Instead, going to opt to go for the Rocky Boy. Put that on the field to sort of secure the rest of his turn. Going to use Disciples to be able to tribute for Maiden. And, of course, tributing away that Disciples. And then entering battle phase to be able to attack for plenty of damage. So, being able to clear away them Starboy and Moulin, no problem. I'll lose my next battle phase. He's going to demise here after damage has been done. Cannot special summon anymore. That I don't think he has. And then going to use Disciples there in the end phase to draw 2, set some more. And then end phase, Rocky Boy will not return because of Eruption. And now I'm having to deal with 3 set back row, an Eruption, and he's going to have 2 chances to be able to search things from deck because of Majesty Maiden and Ignis. Majesty Maiden will go off, adding Dynamite Knight. And, of course, he does have a trap set like Apocalypse that could prove pretty lethal for me, because that is a free 2,800 body on board. And a disruption on his part to stop any of my plays. Now, I have Neptibus here. I can summon, I can use the effect. And I send Infantry. Because I have to pop the Eruption, or else the rest of my play fizzles because I can't really get it over anything else that he has. And the important card being Maiden, and then I know he has to have some sort of Apocalypse set or any other disruption. So I just find it better off to just stop trying to win a match that's not necessarily winnable and just go game 2. And here in game 2, he has the first turn board with Maiden, Disciples, or Heritage. And I'm going second, of course. I believe I opened up 2 copies of Red Reboot that I ended up siding in, and which is really unfortunate because he did not open up any traps. Of course, I see my sides, but when I see them, they're useless, which is, of course, you know, super cool. Just my luck. Send Dragoons, add Dragoons, and Megalo, I believe. Megalo discarding 2 copies of Infantry, or 1 Infantry and 1 Dragoons. And Infantry will pop Maiden, no problem. And I grab Diva. Now, right here, I'm very nervous of hand traps like Ghost Ogre. So, instead of using Megalo's effect to tribute to attack twice, I leave it in hopes that I can just secure the damage that I need and put him under some pressure. Of course, Mori agreed in hand as well. Now, was I mind gaming myself a little too much? I guess you could say that I did. I have Droll and Lockbird, so I'm sort of feeling good about myself with what I did in the previous turn and not trying to go for the greediness of, you know, the double attack, because if I do that, I lose my Megalo and my Prince and just left with an Infantry inboard on defense, because I would have, you know, used the Infantry to summon out the Diva and go in for another play to make my Starboy for the extra damage, which would have been game. And unfortunately, he does not actually have Ghost Ogre in hand, so I actually mind gamed myself pretty hard, which is really unfortunate because that's something that I seem to do a lot. And this is where I wanted to, this is why I originally wanted to rematch him, the first rematch that you saw, Stormforce being activated, chipping away Megalo, and then using Dynamite Knight to run over Neptibus. So, had everything gone through the way I planned, he didn't have any hand traps, I could have OTK'd there, but then again, can you blame me for being precautious enough to not try to lose my whole field to a, you know, a Ghost Ogre, but he did have Ash in hand as well. So he would have potentially been able to stop my Diva play that I would have had to follow up with the previous turn. So I don't know if I actually would have been able to OTK if he just has Ash for the Diva. because I was planning to use Megalo, Tribute Prince to summon out infantry to attack twice, use that infantry to get Diva on board, and then summon out a card like Marksman or Prince or infantry to make a Mistar Boy, and then attack twice with the 2900 Megalo and then the 1900 Mistar Boy, and then I think one extra card for extra damage. But I think I just mind gamed myself too hard, and it ended up causing me the match, which is really unfortunate. We could have seen in game 3, but again, if he had the Ash Blossom for that Diva in his first hand that turn anyways, it wouldn't matter. Him having Ash for the Diva pretty much seals the deal. I think at that point I use the infantry and the Diva to go into Mistar Boy, and that's 29, 29, and 19. That is 4,000. That's 58, 68. That's 7,700 damage, which is definitely not enough for a game, and then I still lose the previous turn. So unfortunately, that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and of course, always thank you for watching. If you haven't joined the Discord, do so right now. It should be in the description. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to kill signing out, guys. We'll see you in the next one.